Welcome back to the conclusion of our interview with Kevin Kruse. In today's episode, Kevin discusses what does it take to create super fans, how to build your personal brand, his new book that actually includes his email address and cell phone number on the cover. I have no idea what he was thinking doing that. And shares one of his strategies on how to create an email list by spending an hour a day helping others.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. Now, you've gone from creating these organizations, and now what you've done is you've gone ahead and you've created Kevin. You've developed a brand around you. And there's a lot of people making that sort of transition. What advice do you have for people that do that?
Well, yeah, it's a big conversation, and it really does focus on the why for the newest book. I mean, a lot of what I found is the conventional wisdom out there that you get from a lot of internet marketers and people like that is, you spend a lot of money on Facebook ads and get them into your funnel and all these things. And I do some of that kind of stuff. But what I found worked best for me was being myself and helpful and authentic every single day. And what I mean by that, it's as simple as, I spend about an hour a day trying to be helpful to people. And when I first started and I didn't have an email list, I would go look for people to be helpful to, meaning I would go into Facebook groups in the different areas that I was interested in. And, people are asking questions. I would make sure I would answer them, that I was a very active, contributing member, not selling anything in that group. And inevitably, you help a few people a day. One of them is going to want to connect with you on Facebook. They're going to want to hop over to your website, and then they're going to, join your email list. And Thor, it's only really been 2.5, maybe 3 years at the most that I've been kind of focusing on this. And, I've built up, thousands of what I would call super fans, people who I've had email exchanges with one-on-one, thousands. And I've got about 50,000 people in my email list, another 50,000 on LinkedIn. And all I'm doing, it doesn't cost money. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's just by trying to be helpful. And I think if it comes from the wrong place, people are going to think like, oh, you're just giving me advice to make me, get into your funnel. I hope they join my funnel, but it really is who I've always been. And it feels good to help people. It feels good to have people say, hey, that really changed my approach. So that, to me, personal branding in building that brand, you do need a platform. Like, you shout your message into an empty room, it'll just echo back. But to me, I just do it organically. I think the best way to build your personal brand is, share your expertise as often as possible in an authentic way, and you will build your brand.
Yeah, and you don't abuse that list. You send out a nice newsletter once a week. It has value in it, and it's not this constant, over and over and over again. It seems like every day. I started to get 3 or 4 a day. I was like, you're done, unsubscribed.
Yep. Yeah, and Thor again on that note, maybe it's getting to be desperate times or something, because there are some people who I have followed for years who, I'd hear from them once a week, a couple times a month, and it was usually valuable. If they were selling, it was fine. And some of those very respected people, they're joining up on all these affiliate promotions, and they're hammering you 4 or 5 times a day. And it's like, God, I hate to unsubscribe from you, but the value to sales ratio is out of whack.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think we're thinking about the same person, because I was just thinking about that last week. It's funny. I was looking at some program recently, and the name of the company, the actual holding company, was something like Piranha Media. And I was like, ow, it's like, I just feel like I'm going to get chewed up or something. It's like,
right.
What about like the giving media? How can I help you media? No, the Piranha. Like, oh.
Oh.
So let's start. I want to go into your new book.
Yeah.
Text me, snap me, ask me anything. Love the title, but here's the kicker. It has your phone number on the title, on the cover, along with you got your email, but your phone number's on there. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so this is the grand experiment, Thor.
Yeah, you're like the LifeLock guy running around with his Social Security number on the billboard.
Yeah, I heard he stopped doing that after he got hacked a few times. So and this was exactly my point. And it hit me earlier earlier in the year. I was already almost done with a couple other book projects, and I kept getting that question about, how do you get such a responsive audience? Your last book got 96 book reviews in a day. How'd you do it? And the answer was always what we just talked about. It's just about being, connecting one person at a time, being real. And I thought, all right, let me just write a quick book on this subject, a real quick one on how I'm doing it, how I'm getting people to ask me questions, to invite the questions in, so I have content to answer, people to respond to. And I thought, you know what, like to practice what I preach and to prove the point that unlike those 3/4 of the people that wouldn't respond to my email before, like you can find a way to make this work. I said, let me put my contact info right on that front cover. And I will tell you, like, we're at the time we're recording this, we're in pre-launch. I had about 1,000 people get the beta copy of the book, and it has been busy. I mean, I'm traveling around, and I'm getting text messages, I'm getting snaps, I'm getting a lot of emails, and so far, I've been able to respond to everybody. I think it's taken me, 24 hours to get back to some people, but it's great. I'm making new friends, and I bet these people I'm responding to will treat me well when it comes time to launch the book, and it's exciting.
Awesome. I opened up the first page, and I just want to read this. This is what the first page says. Build a massive audience in an hour a day with zero marketing dollars. Become a go-to thought leader in less than a year. Quickly build an audience using other people's Facebook groups using the visiting Sherpa strategy. I started to dive in the book. I'm like, what is this Sherpa strategy? And it's brilliant. How to create super fans and how to get intimate attention secrets or generate sales even in the smallest email list with intimate attention secrets. I mean, awesome. I'm flipping through the book trying to figure out what it is, and I'm like, no, just start from the beginning and read. So go into a little bit about the book and some of those areas.
Yeah, and it's the concepts are actually very simple, and it's more about taking the time to implement them. So visiting Sherpa's the old guy who knows the mountain, that's going to guide you to the top of the mountain. And if you're an expert in anything, and I actually think most people have some expertise to offer, even if they don't believe it, because there's a lot more beginners out there than experts. We forget, how, it was only 3 years ago and I didn't know anything about whatever, WordPress or marketing or time management, whatever the topic might be. And the idea is to, travel into Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, the right communities, the right places, and offer help, offer guidance. Say, hey, I was stuck down on Basecamp just 2 years ago. Like, you don't want to come off as I'm the guru expert that's always been awesome. It's more about being honest about your own zero to hero journey. I mean, I didn't write the time management book because I was always great at time management. It's because I was horrible at it and had to figure it out. I had zero brand. I barely have one now, but I'm sharing what I've learned over the last 3 years. And so when you go into these groups and say, hey, you know what? I also was overweight, 2 years ago, and I tried these 3 things that didn't work. But this is the thing that actually worked for me. And if you want more information, let me know. I'm happy to share it. I mean, that just works wonders. I mean, people are really attracted to these kind of like humble, Sherpa, wise, people who are still relatable. It's not like, oh my gosh, they're a rock star. I'm not worthy. It's like, oh my gosh, they were where I was just a little while ago. I'd love to have a chat with you about it. So, I mean, that's a real good one. And then the other thing is that so many people have email lists, right? I mean, they know that that's a fundamental thing. The wealth is in the list. So they do a great job of putting a lead magnet up there. You got your leadpages.net or some other landing page, and people show up to get your PDF and they give you the email. And 99% of these lists use that automated response that's like a template that says, whitelist my thing so you get my email and do this and do that. And I'm going to email you once a week or once a month or whatever it is. Well, what I found was that that's okay, and I've got some of that, but my autoresponder, the first thing it says is hit reply and tell me what you're working on or challenged by. And there's two parts. I don't say click this link and fill out a survey. I don't say come join me on the webinar in a week. Hit reply. It's the easiest thing. People hit reply on email all day. And when I just leave it open-ended, and I think I say something more, like, even if it's not my area of expertise, I'd love to know. It's inviting people to share. And what I've learned, Thor, is there's like a psychological thing going on. I do get, probably 10 emails a day of like, hey, Kevin, I'm struggling with getting out of bed in the morning. What's your advice? Or I'm struggling with procrastination. What's your advice? I get that, but I also get things like, you know what, Kevin, here's what I'm working on at work, and it's all this stuff that I don't even understand. There's some chemical engineer or something. And at the end, they're like, I had nobody to share this to. I don't know if you're really going to read this or not. I don't know if this is going to be a staff person, but I just want to say thanks for asking. I feel good just having written it. And then, of course, I do respond, and it blows their mind. So it's like, I don't know, people want to connect. People want to share. There's not enough true connection anymore. So, I mean, it's not mind-blowing, but those are some of the tricks.
Yeah, to me, it all comes down to the connection. Many times you'll even see on websites, there's not even a contact tab anymore. There was a guy that put out a new program that I wanted to buy. It was $1,000. And I just had a simple question. Are all the modules currently done, or are you going to drip these out over time?
Right.
That's all I wanted to know.
Right.
I got a nice little auto responder saying your ticket number 587 and never heard from him. $1,000.
Oh my gosh.
Poof. Gone.
Crazy. Yeah.
It just, and I mentor entrepreneurs. I'm a business consultant, but also mentor young entrepreneurs. And I tell them all the time, I know you're young. I know we've got this whole Gen X thing going on and everything's like just on your phone and we don't talk to people anymore. We don't even date in person, right? We just swipe right or left. You got to get engaged. You've got to have a conversation. You have to create what you put in here, know, like, and trust.
Right.
Form those relationships.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to, I think it was Woody Allen, one of the comedians, that said, 90% of success is showing up. And like that contact form, technology is good, but you can't make it a fence or a barrier between you and your audience, you and your message. And just that little extra effort so that, sure, people need to know you exist, but then they need to like you and they need to trust you. But if so few people are doing it the right way, if you can span that know, like, and trust bridge, they'll buy over and over and over again. I mean, it's worth the effort.
Yeah, it's kind of like going out on a date. When you first go on a date, you don't ask someone, hey, nice to meet you, will you marry me? No,
right.
You've got to talk. You got to shake hands. There's got to be a second date, a third date, a fourth date. And that comes by interaction and intimacy and connection.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Well done. This is going to be a very easy podcast to edit and everything because, one, you're a professional here, but also I don't have to worry about accidentally putting your phone number in the show notes. I love that.
You can put it anywhere you want.
I love it. Kevin, we're coming up on the end of our time together. We could go on for hours and hours and hours, but you've got more interviews to jump to. So I want to give you an opportunity to tell the audience how they can get a hold of you and any projects that you're currently working on.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity, Thor. And I think, the best thing I can do, you talked a little bit about I know your audience is really into productivity. And with that book, that's 15 secrets successful people know about time management. That's just at masteryourminutes.com. You can download the cheat sheet with all 15 secrets. And the new book, which I appreciated you asking me about. And if you just go to masteryourpersonalbrand.com. Again, you'll get a cheat sheet with all the tips right in it. And I'm available social media everywhere. Again, my email is kevin@kevinkruse.com. Feel free to reach out.
And he will respond. I can tell you because I had to send him an email last night, and 20 minutes later he said, I'm in an airport and here's the information. So thank you.
That's great.
Great job.
Thanks, Thor. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it as well. Thank you. For the last 16 years, I've been driven by the question of why some people achieve amazing results and others don't. The answer? 90% of their success came from their psychology. So if 90% of their success comes down to their psychology, what was the one thing that enabled them to produce the results that others were not? Their ability to execute, their ability to get things done. Now, we all know how to get things done, but some of us do it better than others. And some of us are not even coming close to tapping our potential. So if you're truly committed to tapping your potential and really becoming a peak performer and getting the results that you need, want, and desire, take your phone and text the word BESUMMIT. That stands for Business Execution Summit. One word, BESUMMIT, and text that to 41411. I'm going to send out some additional information on our upcoming event that will truly teach you the science of execution. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.